Hola familia y happy August. Shout out to my dad. He just had a birthday, which means we are officially kicking off my birthday month. And I used to not be a birthday month person. Like I thought it was a little extra. And now I get it. I feel like culturally too, we don't always pause to celebrate ourselves like that. We celebrate family, milestones, everyone else. So I've been trying to get better at actually honoring my life in that way. There's something really grounding and kind of cathartic about entering a new year of life with intention. Entonces, estamos aquí a few days into August and a few weeks away from me wrapping up my 32nd year of life. And I've been thinking a lot about how I actually want to move through este mes. So today we're talking about August intentions. It's been a theme of this year. We've had episodes on setting intentions without pressure, the life we're building right now feels slower, softer, not as easy to explain. The positive effects of mental and physical decluttering. And we started this summer talking about Mamacita Maxing, romanticizing life like it's the 90s, and embracing that soft season energy. Because life gets busy, it gets loud, there are distractions, responsibilities, routines, and sometimes we drift away from ourselves without even realizing it. And I think for a lot of us, especialmente if you grew up in a family first culture, it's really easy to prioritize everything and everyone else before checking in with yourself. This month is about returning to yourself, keeping what feels good, letting go of what doesn't, and moving con un poquito más intention. I want to share what a gentle reset actually looks like for me right now in case it gives you some info for your own. Primero, keeping the habits you actually like. Not everything needs to change. I think sometimes when we think reset, we assume we need to overhaul everything, new routine, new habits, new mindset. And that's just not realistic. There are things in your life that are already working, that already feel aligned. And sometimes we overlook those because they don't feel dramatic enough. But consistency in the small things, that's what actually creates stability. So, part of this reset for me has been asking what already feels good that I want to keep. And I think it's a good question for us to ask ourselves. Something that already feels good for me that I want to keep is having a nighttime routine. I have been attempting to not use my phone in bed and instead read a book to fall asleep. I feel like I actually get more restful sleep when I don't have technology in my hand. And I know that might sound like common sense to most of us here, but we're in a day and age where a lot of us are attached to our phones and it's easy to fall asleep with TV or phone. Most of my life, I've always had a TV in my room and used to use it to fall asleep. And it's only in my current apartment that we don't have a TV in the room. And it is intentional because I'm trying to rely less on that to fall asleep at the end of the day. And that's just one little example in my life. Segundo, letting go and giving things a second life. Earlier this year, I was reminded how good it feels to declutter. And this summer, I've been slowly going through some childhood things my dad saved for me. And if you grew up in a Latino household, you already know we keep things, photos, toys, little memories, things that carry stories. Y estoy tan agradecido de que los haya conservado. But I'm also trying to shift my mindset because I don't want these things to just sit in boxes forever. I joke with my dad sometimes that he's hoarder light. He's gotten better over the years, and I say it with love. So I'm attempting to not do the same and just hold on to things while I do appreciate so much that he held on to them for me. I'm planning to give some of them to my nieces and nephews, let them create new memories with things that were once mine, keeping a few meaningful pieces, but letting the rest have a second life. And I think that's the shift for me. Holding on to the meaning, not the object. Dejar ir no significa que no importa. That means letting go doesn't mean it didn't matter. Hold on to that because I think the scariest part sometimes is letting something go. And I know I personally think to myself, well, if I let this go, I'm going to let go all the memories associated with it. And that's not the case. We can't live our lives by fear. Tercero, taking creative breaks. I'm actually recording this episode early because I'm taking August off from the pod. And this is something I decided earlier this year while I was planning. Not because I don't love creating, because I do. Pero I've learned that I need breaks to stay inspired. And I think part of that for me has been unlearning this idea that I always need to be productive, that rest has to be earned. Because I don't know about you, but I definitely grew up around a lot of keep going, keep working, don't slow down. A little bit of a survival mentality, and I get why because the generations before me were surviving. They were trying to build a foundation for the future generations, and I am forever grateful for that. And while work ethic is something I'm really proud of, I'm also learning that rest deserves a place in my life too. Rest isn't a break from the process, es parte del proceso. And this is something that is much easier said than done, but something that I am embracing as I venture on this gentle reset. Cuatro, resetting your energy, not your identity. This one has been huge for me lately because I think we've been conditioned to believe that in order to feel different, we need to become different. And honestamente, that's exhausting. No necesitas una nueva identidad. And I think that's especially important when you come from cultures where identity is already so layered. Familia, expectations, roles, responsabilidades. Sometimes a reset isn't about becoming someone new. It's about asking, what parts of me feel the most like me right now? And choosing to hold on to that and come back to that if you've ventured far off of that. One of the simplest ways I've been doing this is spending more time outside. And I know that sounds obvious, but I work from home and it's muy fácil para me to go days without really being outside. So this actually started as homework from my couples therapist to spend more time outdoors during the day. And it doesn't have to be a whole production. Sometimes it's literally just sitting on my balcony, feeling the air, escuchando a los pájaros, looking at trees, montañas, y el cielo. And honestly, it reminds me of being a kid, just being outside without overthinking it, without having a huge agenda. And I've noticed a difference. My mood is better, my mind feels clearer. Even just 20 minutes outside can lower stress levels. So even if it's on your balcony, front porch, your backyard, a stoop for all my city friends, try to get outside for 20 minutes. And if you need a little push, because I'm not an expert, according to UCLA Health, studies show that spending time in a green space or natural environment can help reduce psychological stress. Just 20 minutes spent in any space that evokes nature can significantly reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone, levels. But fully immerse yourself in a natural environment for 20 to 30 minutes for the greatest drop in cortisol. After that, cortisol tends to level out. I will include the source to this article in the episode description so you can check it out for yourself. The thing to remember is this isn't about becoming an outdoorsy person overnight or an outdoorsy person. It's just about being human. And humans aren't meant to be indoors 24/7. And I think it's easy to lose sight of that nowadays. And it's a blessing that nature is still around and we get to immerse ourselves in it sometimes. So, just a reminder for us to not take these simple things for granted. Another part of this reset is doing things that actually fill your cup up. I love doing things that fill my cup up, not to sound like I'm all about me, me, me. And for me, one of those things is traveling. And while I'm taking a break this month, my boyfriend and I are taking a trip to Italy. It's his first time to Europe, so I'm excited to get to experience that with him. It's something we've been talking about for a while, and it feels like a celebration of a lot of things. Him finishing school, our anniversary, just vida. And Italy is really special to me. I studied abroad in Florence, Firenze, and I haven't been back in years. And I think travel for me has always been a way to reconnect, not just with the world, but with myself. Especially as a Latina woman, being in new environments sometimes gives me space to see myself differently, fuera de las expectativas o rutinas. Pero más que nada, se trata de hacer espacio para las experiencias, for joy, for presence. And that doesn't have to mean a big trip. Podría ser algo pequeño, whatever fills your cup. There are a lot of little ways that we can reset and help us live a life that is more authentic to our own selves. And that is what I hope you take away from today's episode. And since I'm taking a step back this month, it also felt like a good time to reflect just on what I've learned so far from doing this podcast. And not gonna lie, it feels weird to say that out loud, but I think it's important to actually pause and acknowledge growth. And I know I talk about this in different episodes, and sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's because I get off the mic and I go back to life and I fall into old habits sometimes where I am moving so fast that I stop acknowledging my own growth and the growth of others. Because I think a lot of us were raised to be strong, to push through, and not always stop to recognize how far we've come. Así que algunas cosas que he aprendido, there's a lot that listeners don't see: the self doubt, the second guessing, the time spent organizing my schedule to fit time in for the pod and choosing to work on the pod over getting an extra hour to lay in bed, or less TV time because I need to give my brain space to focus. And we all know multitasking is actually counterproductive. Trying to find balance of keeping the content and ideas flowing while also making space for creative breaks and to do other things that fill my cup up. I've also had to learn to be kinder to myself through that. And I've shifted my mindset from chasing excitement to building something sustainable, something I can actually keep showing up for. Y ese cambio lo ha cambiado todo. I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining because I think it's a blessing that I have this space, but it is a lot of discipline and it takes a lot of energy. And it has also been one of the best things in my life. And I am grateful and lucky for everyone that has helped support my growth, this journey, and I have been able to connect with. So thank you. Before we wrap, I have two TV recs for you. First is Shrinking. It's a dark comedy, kind of sad, kind of funny, actually really funny. And I think it doesn't try to make grief look polished or linear, which is one of the many reasons why I love it. I'm on season 3, and there are 3 seasons. It's on Apple TV. Episodes are short, so it's an easy watch and an easy binge. Jimmy, played by Jason Segel, is struggling to grieve the loss of his wife while being a dad, friend, and therapist, and we follow his journey as he navigates his grief. It's messy in a really human way. A few other people in this are Harrison Ford. He plays Dr. Paul Rhodes, who owns the private practice that Jimmy works at, and Jessica Williams. She plays Gabby, who is a therapist at the practice and friends with Jimmy. I love her and enjoy her fashion and interior design. Lukita Maxwell plays Alice, Jimmy's daughter. Also love her and haven't seen her in anything previous to this. So I feel like her star is rising. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the show. There are a lot of great actors, and I appreciate that it isn't afraid to show the aftermath of loss, the grief that follows, and normalizes how messy moving on can be from different perspectives: the husband, the child, the friend. I'm thankful that I haven't personally experienced a loss like Jimmy has experienced, but having lost one of my tias who I was close with, I know that grief is a unique journey and there is no one way to grieve the loss of someone. I highly recommend this 10 out of 10 watch, and the episodes are 30 minutes each episode, so they fly by. And complete opposite energy, Temptation Island. This show is chaos. You can watch Temptation Island on Peacock. There are 5 seasons. Episodes are around 40 minutes, and the show is wild. The cast changes every season, but you can count on these constants. Brave couples go to an island to test their relationship, surrounded by singles. Plenty of tempting singles ready to shake things up, and a lot are looking for love. I believe the villa is in Hawaii, so it's beautiful nature. Can't get enough of it. Every episode, they watch out of context clips of their partner. So you can imagine the spirals. It's frustrating, it's entertaining, it's messy, and somehow I keep watching. Host is Mark L. Wahlberg, not the Marky Mark you're thinking of. There's another Mark Wahlberg. And he hosts all seasons. He does a good job at holding people accountable and reminding them to focus on themselves, even though they go there as a couple. The goal is to grow individually so that you can be ready to be in a relationship. If you choose that at the end, you get to decide if you want to leave alone, leave with the partner you came with, or with a new person that you formed a connection with. You see how it can be messy. I love to see the growth in people, and I feel like a lot of them leave more well rounded and sometimes realize that the relationship that they came there with is not healthy. So I feel like it's helping people in a weird way. So one is healing, one is chaos. Choose your cup of tea. As we move through August, you don't need to do the most. You don't need to become a new person. Let this be your permission slip to reset gently para honrar de donde vienes, to honor where you come from while also choosing what you want to carry forward. Keep what feels good, release what doesn't, and move in a way that feels true to you. I'll talk to you soon. Los quiero a todos y gracias for listening and helping me grow. I will be doing a recap on our Italy trip, but it will be coming out later this year because your girl is taking August off. She is recording a ton of episodes early, and I feel like I teased this a couple months ago, but we have some awesome interview episodes coming up. So I'm stoked and los quiero a todos y gracias for listening and helping me grow. Stay safe, familia.
Music done by Marco. You can find him at midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram.